Hello, I'm Pete Starkey with iConnect 007 here in Productronica. We're on the show floor, we're at the booth of Yxlon and delighted to meet an old friend and colleague, Keith Bryant, who is now the Director of Sales for Yxlon Global. Keith, great to see you and thanks very much for sparing time in your busy schedule.
It's always a pleasure, Peter.
Could you give me a brief introduction to what you're presenting at this show and what is your marketing strategy, Keith?
Okay, yeah, very nice direct question to start off with, Peter. Okay, at the show here we've launched a range of 6 brand new machines. 3 small footprint machines and 3, let's call them full-size, high-end X-ray systems. We've decided to come with a different approach. Traditionally, X-ray systems are sold to a price point or to an arbitrary feature recognition ability.
Yeah.
Obviously, the smaller the feature, the higher the price. And these machines have been sold into semiconductor, failure analysis lab, high volume SMT, low volume SMT, and all of the areas in between. And we've hoped to give somebody a reasonable picture across the whole of this spectrum. And at the end of the day, it's like saying, okay, I've got a family car, but I like to fish, so at the weekend I'm going to drive it across fields and everything else. Yeah. And then on Monday, I'm going to drive it at 180 miles an hour down the Autobahn. So it's a sports car, it's an SUV, it's a family car, and in reality, we all know that doesn't work. So we've gone away from the one-size-fitting-all approach, and we've taken out if you like, the compromise out of the equation. And now our SMT customers can have a choice of 2 machines specifically designed to perform in that environment. The semi guys can have a choice of 2 machines designed to work in that environment. And the failure analysis guys get a fully loaded machine with the best CT that there is and the fastest processing PC. Because when you know yourself, when you're doing failure analysis, 3-dimensional images actually show you a lot more about what's happening within the system. So we've designed the machine not to be run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, running automated routines, but actually to produce the best images that we can get, bar none.
Keith, are these sort of fixed specification machines or are they configurable to suit the particular customer's requirement?
Each one is a fixed configuration. CT is an option for the ones that don't have CT. But apart from that, it's pretty much, Yxlon used to be Fine Focus. They started in 1986, so we've been in X-ray for a long time. We believe we know what is the right specification for each individual thing. So we're saying to the customers, it's like, if you buy a pick-and-place machine, you buy a pick-and-place machine. You don't have 37 different options. You buy the one that suits what you want to do. And we're just really bringing that same approach into X-ray.
Yeah. Keith, I've known you for a long time, and you've been an expert in the X-ray technology for a long time. What's the state of the art in X-ray inspection technology now?
State of the art is really a balanced system that gives you what you want. We're getting pushed by the semiconductor guys to see smaller and smaller features. Yeah. 9 micron TSVs, small copper bumps, all of this thing. And then we're being pushed by the SMT guys who are looking at, let's say, an IGBT for a wind farm that's got a 6mm copper heatsink in it. And they still want to see what's happening to the joints inside, because thermal conductivity, as you know, is a big thing for these things. And if you can't see what the voiding's like on the joints, then you're going to load it into a wind machine that's going to be somewhere out in the middle of the sea, and 3 months later it's going to stop working, and then it becomes a nightmare.
And you need a pretty powerful source to see through that 6mm of copper.
Yeah, you need exactly the opposite that you need for a semiconductor machine. Yeah. So that's really that's the essence in what we're launching. Yeah. We're saying to the semiconductor guys, this is your best machine. Yeah. The hardware, the software, the configuration, and not only that, to an extent, the tubes are configurable, the detectors are configurable because they all have different gain settings and everything else. Yeah. So we're fine-tuning it to suit that application rather than a one-size-fits-all and somewhere in the middle is the sweet spot. We're actually putting the sweet spot right where it needs to be.
Certainly now you've explained the logic of that, it makes an awful lot of sense. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you. And if it makes sense to you, then our job is done.
Thank you. You're very, very kind. Keith, if I may just change the subject for a moment. We've known each other as directors of the Smart Group based in the UK for many, many years. But you now have negotiated with our colleagues in SMTA, and as of the beginning of January, we're going to take on a different name and a different area of responsibility. Can you just quickly update us on that?
Yeah. Oh, the update is everything's going well. It's even more smoothly than I was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah.
We've had nothing but positive comments back from the SMTA guys and from our guys. We're working at the moment. One of the advantages historically of the Smart Group is we have a great database. We have a whole load of historical documents. We have a technology forum which we've had all the data saved from a lot of years. So there's basically very few new questions. Question that you have now was probably answered 3 years ago by somebody else. Yeah. All of that data has been ported over to the SMTA, and that is going to become part of their searchable archive. Today we have an event going on down in Speaker's Corner, which is a series of seminars and presentations which sits under the banner of SMTA Europe. Our conference that we did jointly last year that was a big success is going to run again this year, looking at harsh environment. And that is going to be the first big SMTA Europe event. So yeah, as of December, Smart Group will be no more, and SMTA Europe will be born, and it's a new era for all of us old guys, Peter.
Thanks, Keith. We look forward to an exciting future.
Not at all. Thank you.
It's been great to see you. I appreciate we've dragged you away. You've got a busy schedule. There's an awful lot of activity on your stand. You'd better get back to business.
Well, yes, that's what we're all here for. Thanks, Peter.
Thanks again, Keith. Pete Starkey, iConnect 007 at Productronica. Thank you.